Hey beauties, morning to you. Last evening my mother was sharing with me that Reverend Al Miller would be on Simsoul session. I said, really? And yes, going to talk about his whole situation, especially as it relates to his life, his upbringing, yes. But I know a lot of people want it predominantly as it relates to the saga with he and some Mr. Coke. What's his name? I don't remember his first name, Dudus. We know him as Dudus. And I was listening to the minister talking about his life. His father was a deacon. Mother had gone away because he was living with the father, until he was 13. And then I think he went and lived with his mother. She was called to the ministry by God because she was a dressmaker. And, his life basically followed suit. He was in insurance. I think he was in private or public sector for a while. Then he went to insurance. And, it's like the Spirit of God was moving upon him to go into ministry full time. And then he eventually left and went into it and so on. And, he talked about a little bit about that. And then, Simone had asked him the question of questions that everybody really wanted to, why the situation had happened with him and Dudos and why, allow his name to be so-called tainted, and, he said he was praying the morning. He never forgot. He had a conversation one particular day. He said he got up, he went to Dudos's place, never said a word to his wife or children or anybody. And he said he spoke with the man for 3 hours. He, talked about what has been happening and everything, So I guess they would have gone into a lot of things. And, during the whole incursion situation, they had reached out to him to say, sir, he's willing to turn himself in, but only you can come. And he said, boy, he just made a decision to go and take him, and based on the whole situation, he said, he called some friend of his in the police force that, he had some connection with, and then he called somebody else, I guess in his whole, I don't know if it's in church or the clergy, to call the embassy to say, can we bring this man in, maybe to turn him in, get him asylum, whatever it is, whatever conversations he would have had. I don't remember what he said. They had responded to him. I don't know if they said, you have to liaise with the local authorities and so on. Naturally he would. And he said when people think that, like a ton load of police cars came and one whole heap of noise and one hullabaloo, he said none of that happened. It was very peaceful. It was calm. A police saw him, stopped him, asked him, said, oh, minister, whatever. And then they asked him, who is that? And he said he told the truth, who he was. And the minister, the police said to him, okay, sir, it's okay. We will take him from here. And he said, I hear you. No problem. He allowed him to be handcuffed, but he said he has to do it himself because I guess he said he promised the man that he would be there when he's been handed over and whatever. He said after a while, maybe about 2 or so, or 3, police cars came, but it was no showdown, no vulgarity, no hullabaloo, and all of these things that people think that had happened. And, listen to him. And, towards the end, they brought on some families and well-wishers who spoke highly of him, family members like his wife, his child and nephew and grandchildren and whatnot. And so on, which was nice, which was good. I thought that was moving. I never, ever, I think it's my first time really sitting and watching Simsoul sessions. I've always heard it was good, and it really was. I loved how she handled it. I loved, the whole thing was really, really good. And I'm glad that he got the opportunity to say his piece where the whole situation is concerned. I know people are still going to, create their, speak their vitriol or spew their vitriol and their vituperation where he's concerned. We can't stop that. People will always be people, and self-righteousness will always be there. People act as if they're perfect. The only thing I remember was saying personally to my mom, I remember the scripture came to me, don't let your good be evil spoken of. And I think it just somehow, there was a sort of a transience. It kind of transported my mind to the whole situation with TD Jakes and Diddy. And I said sometimes, as a minister, it must be really, really difficult for them, really and truly difficult for them, because sometimes what they're called to do, the regular man or woman cannot understand, even people in the church, because people in the church crucified him too. They sent him to the gallows. You have to wonder if it's the same one that Haman had built for Mordecai. And the only thing that I remember, I said, that I wished somehow, I don't know if he did it. He didn't say it, but he probably did. That what he should have done, say to Mr. Coke, aka Jodo, sir, you have your I don't want to say henchmen, but you have your men for protection, for this, for that. Because you know what clock a strike. And you know the situation. I'm a minister. I have to be careful as well, yes. But you know how they're after the Christian and they're ready to sink the Christian man or woman, especially if you're a pastor. I have to make good sense prevail. Let me carry at least one other person with me. You understand? And it's something that I noticed Jesus practiced. There were moments that he went on his own, especially if he's going to minister. You remember to the woman at the well when the woman was thrown in the act of adultery and so on, and Mary Magdalene. Although people were there, but the woman at the well, that is a different situation. He went there to minister to her. Anybody can go on their own. But you see, when you know it is it's something that can make your good be evil spoken of and create permanent damage to your reputation, although reputation is not character. And God cares more about character than reputation. However, he still would want you to have a clean slate and clean up your reputation. I just wish somehow, I said I don't know if he did it. He may have had the conversation with somebody, but maybe he didn't state it, or maybe it missed me. That he said he would have been adamant in a respectful way, convinced Dodos and said, Dodos, I have to be careful. I have a trusted friend. Let me carry this person. At least when I have somebody else, it's proof to show that we are doing the right thing. If you have to just say with me, where I'm going to ensure that it's a sort of a smooth transition, since you reach out to me for help and you're turning in yourself. Let me liken it onto something for you. If you go to the station and you make a report, or you have something to collect, like maybe a general property item, what they say to the police officers, because you don't want a he says she says situation, have 2 officers as witnesses in case any problems, so you save yourself from any legal issues that can arise, or that may arise. So that is why it is good when the Bible says 1 chase 1,000, 2 chases tens of thousand. There's power in 2 or 3. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I will dwell. You see what I'm saying to you? So that's the only thing that I said. I wish he had kind of convinced him in a respectful, fervent, strong way, and say, with all due respect with you, Mr. Dodos, I can come and pick you up. You know that I want, as a man of God, my calling is for you to change from darkness into light. You're doing the right thing. I have to live by the laws of the land, but I also have to use wisdom. The Bible says, be wise as a serpent. Why you have your men? Put it back to him that way and say to him, I have to carry somebody else with me. This is a trusted person. You don't have to worry. And I'm sure that if you with the right convincing, that Mr. Cook, looking at his own life, would say, all right, sir, no problem, just ensure whatever it is, and still maybe talk to somebody from maybe the legal field. When I say legal field, maybe a lawyer and maybe a police officer, and say, just give me, if he doesn't what have you, then you guys can come in, but allow me to, to cover himself, just to cover himself, because we live in a dark world, we live in a wicked world, we live in a world where people will take your good and make it look evil. Because I remember Christians really lambasted the man. They threw and hurled vitriol against the pastor, and I never liked it. I really didn't. I never joined in with people. That was years ago. I never liked it. I said, I don't like this, because I don't think it was deliberate in the way. And I know people were talking because, the whole disguise. But my man probably had to disguise himself because of the whole situation. Although it looked ridiculous and they look weird with the curly wig thing and all of that. But, as I said, the calling of a pastor can be the regular man or woman, whether you're in the church or not, may not understand it. That's the only clause that's the only difference from me personally that I said I wished he had done. I don't know if he did reach out to somebody. I don't know if I didn't hear him say that, because I know he meant well. As a pastor, he can't look at a man and a woman the way how the regular world does. No matter how evil and wicked, his calling is to move you from darkness into the marvelous light, the light of Jesus Christ. That is his calling. That's any Christian's calling, But I'm glad, nevertheless, that he got the opportunity to speak on the matter, to address the issue after all these years. And I'm glad he has the support of his family and friends and some of his church brethren. He's been a pastor that really created changes for the better in many people's lives. So may God bless him, may God be with him and his family, and keep them in his arms. Guys, follow me on TikTok. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please share this.